you're lacking, it was very difficult for you to engage with it. So what we are starting is, we are saying, we start with the young learners in primary schools. They are still very willing to learn anything and everything. They are willing to expand their minds. They are sponges. And Gen Z, those are the smartest kids that you'll ever come across, because they're also helping you as parents at home load airtime, download certain apps, and be able to access certain things. So you as a parent or as a learner, you don't see the need or the necessity to build onto that and to find out more. It will be difficult for us to try and convince you that you need it. So you need to first have, that has to come from within. You need to want it first, and then we will help guide and shape it. At this point, the number one career right now, the number one most paid person is someone who has studied cybersecurity. And you don't need a degree for that. You can do courses online and you get your experience from working odd jobs, different hours. You can even work in America while you are sitting here in Scotland. But that's not a conversation that we are willing to have at this point, because we are still looking at wanting to push our kids to be in the classroom, to learn, the basics, to not even have extramural activities. You can use coding as an extramural activity. You can learn online. You can go and do your data analytics course online as an extramural activity. You can learn what other kids are learning in university while you are still here. One of the things that we've done last year for the matriculants and the grade 11s, open call, we've asked that you come in for a free course for you to learn basic digital skills, because we realize that by the time you leave high school, even as a top performer, when you are from sources, sometimes that is a disadvantage when you get there, because you're starting to think that you are not adequate because your computer skills are lacking. So we are trying to bridge that gap, We want you to be on the same level as learners that have had computer literacy from grade 8. They call it CAT, from grade 8 to matric. So when you are available during school holidays, if you are willing to sacrifice that much, for a week, I can give you skills that you can learn in 12 months. In just a week, 3 hours per day. So I will leave it at that at this point.
Thank you very much, Neo. Anabele Ria, Dr. Mshavani. You're given under the theme Education in Digital Era. You're going to talk about e-learning, digital learning, and SDG4 activities. So they're giving you an opportunity to talk about that.
Okay, thank you, MC and the organizers and my co-panelist. I was trying to change my speech because when she was speaking, I realized, really want to thank you for the points that you have made. You truly drived the points that I wanted to drive or push forward. Now, the task that was given to me, which is to talk about e-learning and SDG and education in the digital era. But before I do that, let me recognize and acknowledge and salute and honor the organizers of this session. I'm truly humbled and privileged to be invited to speak to you, and having seen the good work that they have been doing, I'm truly inspired and hopeful that as the country we have the future. The future looks brighter than it might even we might even perceive it to be, because we have the lioness and the lionesses who are championing this bold move. I say that because education change, the change that we want to see starts and ends with education. And there is a saying by someone who once said that the mistake of the teacher lies in the street, and the mistake of the doctor lies in the grave, and the mistake of the advocate or the lawyer lies behind bars. But with that said, what I want to bring forth is the first point, which is the mistake of the teacher lies in the street, which when extrapolated means that if a mistake happens in the school, the results will see them on the street. But that is not, I'm not trying to be a philosopher tonight, but before I answer the questions that were posed to me, my learned colleague here spoke about being disadvantaged when you arrive at university because you do not have prior knowledge and access and the use of a computer. I stand here today despite the challenges that we have been through. I want to bear testimony to what she's saying, because having arrived at the university, I touched the first computer at the university. And when I had to touch the computer. That's the first time I had to type my assignment. So imagine, I'm not shy to say when I had to type, I had to look for where S is type S. And so what could have taken me 2 hours took me 2 weeks, simply because that was my first access to a computer. And I want to say that I see one of my educators from high school is here. So we had far too many challenges. I have mentioned the one of having access to a computer. There were many like me who had to touch or use a computer for the first time at university. And I'm bearing testimony to what she's saying, that it came at a disadvantage. But today, with access to smartphones, which can be converted to a keyboard which looks similar to a computer, then such a challenge can be abated. That means the access to a smartphone, you are already 50% in the right path to solving the problem that she has already mentioned, which is access. Now, beyond access comes success, because many a times you get given access, but you need mentorship, you need guidance, you need organizations like Zuri who are going to champion us through that, because access alone cannot always lead to success. Now, my challenges didn't end at the university, because when I arrived at the University of Pretoria, I want to give this a bit of a background. When I arrived at the University of Pretoria to do my master's, I realized I was the only black person in the room. The rest were either Afrikaner, white, or they come from Europe and so on. So I arrived there hoping that since I'm the black person, I realized my colleagues who were white, they all had mattresses under the table. That was already telling you, and the that syndrome, I realized that it doesn't work like that. It won't work, because my learned colleagues who were in the class by then, they were all white. They had matras. Dilo tša wa tsela o tseba re ge di bua mo computeng ke tla robala for 1 hour ke tsoa maybe ke tla di bona in a different light. And when I arrived, I was given a different challenge. They told me, look, we are spending a lot of money to go to Australia to study or to go and take measurements of in the museum. We want a solution that will stop us to go to digitize all specimens that way. Fortunately, I was given that task. We were the first people in Africa to use that software. Email, I don't have internet. When I come back, I must find the solution. My colleague, only one given that particular task. So I had to find the way from touching a computer at a university to now finding and trying to come up with solutions that are going to ensure that other scientists in future would not have to go to Australia or learning, which does not only start here, but we desperately were not even able to go to study. But schools, though there was no challenges that need to go to that space of e-learning. The Minister of Education in the past, the former minister said the country should transition from material-based economy to knowledge economy. That means our economy should stop relying on the minerals and other aspects alike, and now start producing knowledge, and we export knowledge. An example of that is a situation where we have doctors that come from Cuba. All Cuba is doing is they are exporting knowledge. So our country is moving to that direction, and in order to do that, being in the fourth industrial revolution, which unfortunately as the country we are still behind as compared to other countries. But if you look at other countries, they are way bigger than the fifth industrial revolution. Countries such as Singapore, basics. To invest in simple things. For instance, having a solar powered systems in the school, or having access to electricity in the school. Because access alone, as opposed to what the political space says that we have given people access to electricity, which other scholars differ, because you gave them access to a meter box, not necessarily electricity. They have to go and buy electricity. Hence why we do not see the change from fossil fuel to electricity, because they just got access to a meter box, not necessarily electricity, which is called energy poverty. Now, if a school, we can invest in the schools and have access to solar, that means our school will not be disrupted simply because there is load shedding. Because in the rural areas, load shedding is a common thing. Even when the national load shedding has ended, we still have other things. They've invented another name. It's no longer called load shedding. It's called, I forgot what it's called, load reduction. And so we have a different name, which altogether leads to the lack of electricity, which in turn hampers technology, because technology or learning dwells mainly on the access to electricity. So the investment into that system would be able to help us to go a long way. Secondly is our schools could go out of their comfort zone and seek help where possible. In the past years, we were running a program that was aimed to give the schools, when I tell my colleagues, they always feel like I'm joking. We selected 4 schools and asked the schools, give us a list of what you want, we'll buy them. I don't need to mention the name of the schools, but we selected 4 schools and asked the schools, just write a list of anything you want, we will buy it. And just take a guess how many schools responded. None. But when we approached the schools in the first instance, they said, no, we are a science school, we can't do science without the material, we can't. They gave all complaints. He said, look, we have heard your complaints. Now we have come back with a solution. Just write a list of what you need. We will buy it. They all disappeared. You know why they disappeared? Because we said, no, we are not transferring money to anywhere. We just need a list from you of what you want and the location where we must deliver the items. We will do that. None of the schools responded. So some complaints are not necessarily genuine or willingness. So, but that is just by the way. So one of the things that we can also do is to ensure that we invest there. Not only do we invest in material items, we also invest in human resources. Because I know of schools that have got more than 10 computers that are gathering dust. They have never been used. Those computers were just opened in the box, put wherever they were put. I mean, even though it's now, because there is lack of human resources. So we also need to invest in educating the educators who might be willing to gain new knowledge, or I don't know what programs that can be put in place, but we ensure that we have people who know how to use those equipments. Because some equipments in this era that we are living in, we also need to be reschooled about those kind of items, because without relearning how to use them, we still have a board and a chalkboard and all those items, and they are hampering education. I mean, some of us back then, biology structures are organo, but imagine if you were to look at that structure, how it looks up on a computer with the colors showing you where a particular cell is, how it connects to the other. But kachoko it was white throughout. Biology so in order for us to move forward, because now there's what we call biotechnology, which relies on items such as that, which we really need to make that kind of investment. I'm going to cut it here. I've already spoken about a few challenges. The main challenge that I might not talk about, which is political will. We, as the country, we don't really lack to that extent, as people say. What we lack more is the political will to take action. As I speak now, there was more than I think if it's not 1 billion, it might be 100 million that is allocated for rural areas to have access to internet. But today, as I'm telling you, not more than 10% of that money has been spent in Limpopo province. So I might be wrong in terms of the figures, whether it's 1 billion or 100 million, but it's in the region of millions. Areas such as Seshiro, they are the ones that the communities were electrified. So according to government, there's that money that was meant to ensure that every community, every rural area has got access to internet. But that money lies somewhere, it's not spent or it's not used, which is the lack of political will. But it's broader than that. But I mean, it pains me when I give it all they are doing is just to have access to an internet. You can see how desperate they are to learn. But these kinds of limitations, they are hampering the e-learning that we are talking about. Today, my colleague here mentioned, there are many qualifications you can learn online without paying anything. United Nations, which they are the ones championing some of these SDGs, they have developed many courses. You can study up to having a degree online without paying anything. So that is only possible when some of the challenges we've mentioned have been resolved. Now, for instance, this UJ has got a program that is helping rural communities. All they need is the communities to approach them. We have LEADER, which is Limpopo Economic and Development Agency. They have got far too many programs. Some of them are, when I heard them, I was shocked, because you learn IT skills just for 150. I mean, you spend more than that quarter in just 2 weeks. So, but you can learn and acquire some of the skills for free. I mean, I call it free because if it's just 150, honestly, it's equivalent to being free. So we have other programs offered by CETA, which there's a building here, and I think, I don't know who it belongs to, but just here, CETA is very interested in rolling those kind of programs that offer e-learning to the communities, but all they need is access for the communities to approach them. Even if it's a school, they are willing to come and assist where possible. There's SETA, which is SE, TA, but this one is SITA, SITA, that can help us in this kind of situations. Now, I'm going to conclude with two people, the likes of there is somebody called Albert Einstein. I believe you might know. Once upon a time, he was declared uneducatable. That guy who wrote many laws in science, they once declared him uneducatable. They actually chased him from the school because they said he's uneducatable, because they did not understand his logic, the way he was applying his mind to the principles that they were studying. And later, he became one of the science that whatever he has come up in that field, it will take many years to be able to topple that up. But I want to encourage, I see learners here that don't be discouraged. People like Albert Einstein, they were once called uneducatable. Wabona eba kare uneducatable, ba o ruile ka mata. Jela tsa o re o tšeletše man a ba o ruwe, eba ka re ke ngwana mang, don't feel offended, a se ba o ruwe. Eba ka re uneducatable, ba ra re o sapala, o padile. So Albert Einstein was once called uneducatable, but today he stands as one of the pioneers in the field of science. So you have the potential far more than Albert Einstein, because by that time there were limitations. You couldn't learn certain things because of lack of access. But today there's e-learning. There is many programs like SDG, which one of them is to ensure that there is access to quality education for both male and female, and not only access to quality education, because there is a big difference between access to education and access to quality education. Because the way it is today, to be honest, you can tell who's going to be the employers and who are going to be the employees by looking at the education that is offered. So we need to move out from that kind of a system. The likes of Chirizi Marwala, the former Vice Chancellor of the University of Johannesburg, is one of the pioneers of the fourth industrial revolution. He comes from here, Limpopo. He has written many books, far more than anyone that I know about the fifth industrial revolution. And to the extent that he was now co-opted to be the Vice Chancellor of the University of the United Nations in Japan, all the way from Limpopo, because of his knowledge. So there is no limitation in terms of the background or any form of barrier. It all lies in dedication. Thank you.
Okay. I'm going to give you 2 minutes to answer my question. As much as really in a digital era, and we are talking about limitations more higher, or our learners, there's a need, and we're looking at different perspective, right? So, question they do have access to internet, but then they're using it not in a good way. Looking at social media, it's structured right now. Countries with China, for instance, they are the one who created internet, but then it's limited. We have TikTok, but then on their side they don't have TikTok. Internet, it's based on educational things only, not for entertainment, unlike in Africa. So how do we get to a position, that limitation education and entertainment, or internet, the access that we have to internet in a very effective way, that it will help us to build a better country, not TikTok challenge or create more content creators. I know it has money, but then at some point it's not benefiting us with anything. So how do we bridge that gap, or we create more educated people than entertainers? Let me put it like that.
Okay, thank you. That is a very interesting question. One of the things that we need to realize is that Africans are consumers. That's a fact. we consume on the internet. The only reason currently we are creating content is because there's monetization. We still haven't grasped how to literally make real money off of the internet, because we are used to consuming what the USA is producing. Our music is also, majority of our music as we were growing up, it's music that was imported and we loved it before we realized how important creating our own music is, and how effective and how much more relatable our own music is, and the fact that we can actually create something that is loved once it's exported. One of the things that parents also don't realize is that access to a smartphone is not just access to the internet only. There's dangers on the internet, and unfortunately we cannot curb those dangers as parents or as teachers or as facilitators or as peers. What we have done as Zuri Foundation is we've created an online safety toolkit, which was in collaborations with some of the learners from the schools in the area. We ran a competition 2 years ago, and from that competition, we wrote a book about online safety, which is relatable from as young a child as the age of 5, who, when you read a bedtime story to, will have the understanding to say, okay, so when you're talking different colors, what do these colors stand for, right? So this toolkit is based on the SMART model, which is an online safety abbreviation. So in order for us to get to that point where we decided to create a toolkit, the toolkit focuses on introducing online safety as a story, which is relatable. If you go to www.digitalmandwane.co.za, you will see all of that content there. It's available, it's accessible on the internet. There's a book that you can start reading online. There's a quiz that you can take after reading the book, which will help you, check your knowledge as to how you actually grasped the learnings or the information from the book. We also use the very same SMART model to introduce children or learners to coding. So we are currently testing an app that we're going to use bead, we call it bead to code. So as you bead, so miruga, you can create your own pattern and then you put it onto the app, which allows you to come up with a code. It will give you a code. The code now on programming websites, the HTML, you choose whether you want it to show you HTML, Python, PHP, whatever coding language that you wanted to show you. But in order for us to get to that point where we say we know for sure that our online safety toolkit is effective, we need to work hand in hand with parents. Parents need to understand that when you buy your child a smartphone, you need to have parental guidance on it. You can allow how much screen time is allowed for your child. I have 12-year-olds. They have mobile cell phones, smarter phones than mine, actually, and they know that they have 3 hours of screen time, not even every day, over the weekend. So that 3 hours of screen time, it's a setting. Once that child has used up the 3 hours, then they can't access anything else on the phone. They can't access any applications on that phone. So that's the first learning. We need to have parental guidance. In order for the child to download anything on the internet or to access certain websites, you as the parent get to control that. But this you won't know if you're not knowledgeable, if you're not privy to the information and the know-how, the step-by-step as to how do I do it for my child. So may I suggest that as parents, when you have time, nel container ngwa ulseli ine di solar panel ga modi elga dalazena. We can help you with parental guidance step by step. If you as an educator feel or you need to enhance or you need to revive your digital skills from skolo sela lezenu kale sela le certificate sa computer yasona, but you still don't know how to use it now, come in, we'll help you for free. You're a learner, you're in grade 11, you still have time after school, even if it's an hour every day. Come in. Let's help you get your digital skills on par. If you don't have access or time during, the school term, come in during school holidays. We don't mind. Can give you 3 hours during school holidays. Have a one-to-one. You don't even have to bring your friends. Because nagongwe as PS le neonya ga computer ga didn't unnecessarily leateana. And that also brings down confidence yabana baba. So you can come in, we'll have one-to-one lessons. We'll start from scratch, the basics. How do you type? How do you put your fingers on a keyboard? But and end up with online safety, or even start with online safety and end with something a bit more challenging. If you have access to the internet at home, we can give you online classes. That's where e-learning comes from. You can actually get certified while you're at home. So you just need to talk to us and we'll be able to assist you with that. But as for online safety, it is very, very important that parents need to know how to protect their children with the devices that they have bought for them. And that one, it's a touch and go, because at the end of the day, it also depends on what your children is interested in. We cannot control curiosity, but we can try and help shape and direct learning and guide it into, the right path. And then the toolkit is part of the knowledge creation that Dr. Mshavani here was talking about. That was created by Dr. Magoro, who was born and bred and also learned to touch a computer when she was in university. So I think my 2 minutes is up. Thank you.
Okay, no, thanks. I think she has said a mouthful. The key to this issue, which is becoming a different kind of a problem, because in the past we would have bullying at schools where kids fight and so on. Bullying has taken a different turn now. As much as there's e-learning, there's some form of digital bullying now, which has taken a different form, where bullying is now taking shape online, where people will say stuff, people will say all kinds of stuff, will do this and that. But to answer the question, what do you do as a parent? I think coming from a background as our country and continent, Africa, we have a bigger challenge, because we sometimes would want to pass the baton to the parents to be the ones who are going to ensure that they take good care of the kids and ensure that they are not exposed to malicious content online. But they themselves, parents, are not even privy to using the very same smartphone that they should monitor. Maybe the teaching that needs to go to the learners equally needs to also go to the willing parents, that they need to be equipped in order to monitor the use. There are certain apps that the parents can install, and they can then monitor certain websites that the kids can visit. The websites themselves, they've got a code that this is educational, this is sport, so as a parent, you can then block the access to certain websites which have got a certain code and only open it to educational websites. But once again, to be able to do that as a parent, you need to go to their office and receive that kind of assistance, because otherwise you just back to square one. Because today we have parents who can buy the phone and then ask the kids to help them to operate their phone. Hence some parents even complain of money being stolen in their accounts without the knowledge because they are not aware on how to use this. So the key thing is the parents need to go and get the education that they are offering. It's also available online. There is anti-bullying programs online which would teach and educate parents and guardians on how to avoid bullying online, which is now prevalent. We have many cases of kids who ended up committing suicide because they were bullied online. And it's not physical bullying like it used to happen in our time at school, where you would see the kid that is injured somewhere on the face or shirt torn. You just see certain reactions which some can be interpreted by specialists like your social workers, psychiatrists, and psychologists. So in order to avoid reaching to that stage, we rather visit their office and ensure that we get the services that they are offering, and also online there's that kind of services that can help us to avoid such things, like apps that are available for parental guides, parental care, which can be used to avoid content that is not suitable.
Thank you very much. Annually, I'm going to go to the audience. Government will need questions regarding the panel discussion that we had about digital learning. Okay. We are done. You guys can go and sit down. Arwatan mazawa Saud Lapas. Okay. We are going to theme number 5, which is education beyond classroom. So, Ritulovija, Mr. Ramanjan, to come and speak on this one.
Tawela. Irele nagidilo tsonalabang. Garabang baba diuchi. Le nagidese ore ke laba. Ikona usewa ore ngatia. Ya, ke a leboa. Program director le ba tšea karolo ka moka. Namo ba nkgethile gore ke tle ke bolele ka education beyond classroom. When the invite came, I interacted with some of the leaders of Trucam, and I say, "You are saying I'm going to talk as a parent?" They said yes. I said, "Okay, there's no problem." Ringi just baka sekelebwe va Trucam va batile unasi. The organizers, I'm happy ke tswana le Mr. Mbala Tibare. Jala ka motswadi yo mogolo mongwe wa thagala produce something. Already sitting na Dr. Jebedi kam. Trudy is one of my students. Dr. Mshovani is also one of my students. So there are so many, and I can see we are still going to produce many doctors. And teacher mongolo mongwe uduma ore ngwana adieche na aphale yena. I always encourage my learners bo mabula badze ore lidie ophalanna. Program director, I don't want to waste time. The theme that I'm going to speak to is beyond education, beyond the classroom. When I was trying to interact with this under the topic here, parental involvement, I realized that education beyond the classroom means one simple truth. Schools cannot raise children alone. Dikolo di ka se kgone o di sabana di ntri. Bjalo ka moemedi wa batswadi, also an educator, also an SGB chairperson of one of the local schools around here, and a local leader, Yasatu, the biggest union schools and all over the country. Parental involvement is not optional, it is foundational. Or motswadi a be involved as taba ya gore ko nyaka e ba gore o a tseba gore ke maikarabelo a gagwe ore a be involved ka ra this. In education, renale what do you call the South African Schools Act, which recognizes parents as primary partners in education. But beyond policy, common sense, a child who is unsupported at home will struggle. No matter how good the teacher is, the child is going to struggle. And wherever like a struggle, if one has a great support, it can over struggle sa the resources, struggles sa access, struggles sa many things. I heard one of the speaker, I think if one is going to juggle between buying data and a meal, it's going to be a problem. Keraka data or keraka quota. It becomes a very serious challenge. But if that child does not get support, there will be that situation where the child will have to juggle, or should I buy data or a rigitomeka or a gajaulana. Let me indicate on behalf of parent or to do it from I indicated earlier on when I was contributing in one of the presentation or education start at home. When a learner leaves school, 1 o'clock, 1:30 or 2 o'clock, learning must not end. To drive felelori or no. Homework must be supervised. And who's going to supervise or homework idea is the parent at home. Discipline must be reinforced, and who's going to do that is the parents at home. Encouragement must continue, and who's going to do that is a parent at home. That is education beyond the classroom. Tudo kamara ngwana go skolong, ngwana go classing, motswadi ke ena tshwantsho jia maikarabelo. Let us also speak honestly bjalo ka batswadi. Oba kama teacher, let me go back to the school because I told you I'm an educator. Kwa skoloni the principal abo Mem Baloy lebo Mr. Minyepa and Mr. Mablela and abo Memra Lel. Ona lentwela ba re bitsa ki school self evaluation. Sekolo se ke drivelela. Omngolo mongwa ke re khona go drivelela ka speed agere. But scholars na le speed sa sona salary emanated from what you call whole school evaluation. We call it school self-evaluation, SSE. They will agree with me. Here a school will say, why are results declining? That was the SSC must answer. Number 2, why is attendance poor? Attendance both of the teachers and the learners, why is it poor? And then the third question, SSE will answer, why is discipline weak? These 3 things for the result or the penny, they must be questioned. Why attendance is poor? Why the result is poor? Why discipline is weak? If you start asking yourself these questions, then you are going to make sure scholars will improve. So parents must be part of that reflection. As and when you are treating SSE, colleagues, Valo Kalban and the teaching profession, parental involvement is one of the areas out of 9 areas Jedinjanjo addressing. But so were involved. If parents are absent from evaluation, improvements becomes incomplete. Evaluation parental involvement because parents are not aware or in a role and SGB was not even consulted or role because they are representative of parents. And when SEEP is made, because CPD were from the school self-evaluation, and when it is developed, it must not sit in an office file. It must live in homes. In other words, motswadi to a tseba hore kwa sekolong ba ro nyaka discipline, kwa sekolong ba re tlhokomele taba ya bana ya di homework, kwa sekolong ba re check discipline ya bana. Then the parents is aware, which means CP over SSE, ayodudula sekolong, even parents are aware, and even at home they are practicing it. Because SEEP without parents is like a car without fuel. Koloya toka petrol ega seped. So helo runa le SEEP ya toka batswadi. Batsibore itshwana le koloyi le ngore aena petrolo ega se kono seped. So morwalo lo re sekolo surwile. Oro o toka mata helo re batswadi ya bao. Mara batswadi ba yona morwalo weni a isaba wima. Over very light, and parent and teachers course colony but rala. Parental involvement is not about knowing mathematics or English. It is about showing up. Hebu principal ama teacher bare nyaga di colony arbe on. Young Mogori, we need to ask questions. We must be asking many questions, setting boundaries, valuing education at home. When you set boundaries, I colony a behave yalakangwana school because batswadi ba loreo ba muruta kima teacher anala benikuwa on behalf of batswadi bai. The discipline ya ichero kwa kai, the child must move with it after school. So we cannot demand excellence from schools while we disengage at home. So let's engage our children at home. Because the moment you start disengaging, it becomes difficult for parents for teachers to interact with their child at school. And also schools must also open their doors and treat parents as partners, not as problems. But solution. Development and our community. So education beyond the classroom is partnership. Kichumisam so jara ori herwarisana bazwadi le matichere na mile mafelelo ndilo cherinyaka ori nyokudi kumana. Parents, teachers, learners, officials and community, when we move together, children will succeed. Kinyaga upalla jaga ori kisina kuba mutelele ori ntwengori tsanje reitsebe gore only 3 things jelo ore didia ore future wana over yellow ready wancha parental involvement so that future wana economy bright. 1, key presence. That is pillar number 1. Parents must be visible in schools and at home. Bwana landi goloni lega yele bwana le Lydia role abele. If unalong bara mazwadi utsanja adi signature wancharo wone book yang, don't just sign without seeing the book. Check the book and go through the activities lengwana and then ukono sign. Pillar number 3 ki partnership. Pillar number 2 ki partnership. Parents must collaborate, not compete with teachers. If maybe as and when you were going through the child's book, you realize or there is a mess, small or teacher or sign to over, or correct wrong, interact with the teacher or say, I realized the only problem when you were trying to solve mathematics, but there is something which is not correct. Can we go through it? Exercise number so and so. Something. And then the teacher will say, I've gone through it, answer again. Oh, maybe ubilele oversight, I'll correct it. You don't compete with the teacher, but you are complementing Merogodia, you are collaborating. Pillar number 3, participation. Parents must engage in school self-evaluation, school improvement plan, karate meetings, decision making, and at the end of the day, so when schools conduct school self-evaluation, the voice of the parents must be heard. If parents are absent, the evaluation is incomplete.
Okay, before Lagazamaga, I want to ask a question. How will Benyo Visa Ore Kizala feel Lore, my teacher, and also parents, you talk about partnership, working together. How will the parent jarena, lema teacher, babereke together to fix some issues? For example, Gidagabala, an article, they say that the college arena, they are lacking comprehension. Yes, they are studying, but then they are unable to, they lack comprehension. They cannot comprehend whatever that they are studying. So how can they work together to make sure as much as we are learning, we also be able to comprehend whatever that we are learning and stick by it. Refugee critical mind to think outside the box. Or education to apply it in our daily lives. I don't know if
le bolitse dilo tše pedi ya mathomo ke taba ya gore o na le problem ya gore bana ba ithuta dilo mara ga ba di twisise. I think yeo e kwa from our education system. The department is going to assist in coming up with the solution, because as batswadi, if you check South Africa, almost maybe 50% or 60% ya batswadi o kra lore ba bangwe a ba le ona mabaruta ka mokgano. The reason why I'm saying 60 is because we are coming from a situation wherein almost 70 or 80% ya batswadi ba dana bya lena ma ya refugee e ka no ba le statistical is 60, maybe 45 or 50. But all in all, what I want to bring here kore problem ye winning education system, I mean the department must assist here, because there is some school expect or babu banal something. So the rauri ikanaba maybe lerkini gebe ya wituta labor ukuma lori motho mongwe ads bentweng mara otoka truth. If una le collaboration as a parent, I'll be able to realize or una le gebe lori this particular teacher, this particular educator, una leona, and how can I assist? Instead of blaming one another, offer solution. I realize in most schools, partnership. I remember there was this person over more to study local maths and science, and nowadays some mona and I get on or if possible, we'll never Trucam. How can you assist, especially after going to schools and realize or probably about and you want to assist, so that a seminar wherein you will sit down with teachers. They will tell you more about the problems they are facing, so that at the end of the day there will be a solution. This person over to some teacher maths and science over make a show aspect of maths and science. Although we are longer gauge, one butch problem and well, we are met. It don't know what your answer. When out very problem, look saying while I'm answer step number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4. But from Kwano Revanyak, but when they empower a teacher, and once teachers are empowered, they will be able to do the same thing too. Young way living one again, how can we utilize the skills of retired teachers? You know, but when you are retired, little knowledge and we are not using it, how can we tap? As Trucam, Chakano now gas converge engage retired teachers with the same problem. Little no, Abelina, you have gone through these things. When you were teaching during your time, Lebele Konaviano, Rabana Babelina, Abala standard 2, Renara standard grade 4. Ubasija kono mwala lo bala and apeja bala ramutsar na kwala ini adusis. Why you when abala from 1 abala from 2 maregi mutsar story so was bala sarkin adusis. So we need to engage with them. So I want to put this to you, Ori. Dialoga Trucam. I have assignment diabole. We must engage all retired teachers. Jadlele mwele grebas kosas gamuk. Let this issue. ho se le khonne bjane ngane yana bjale dilo tše di sa kgonega problem again. You will get something so that as and when you put down a PCL or you are going to present it to the department, we are going to say everybody entitled my teacher mafeleloni re dokumana solution. And at the same time, when you are doing those things, it's when you balabazwadi ba yona. That's why today we complain now. Audience yarene rinya ka yekono ke bazwadi, so that some of these things terrible langa John ba dorna role ya bona bjala ka bazwadi ke ya mohutamana. Ke be ginya gile re be ke bolela se e be le re bazwadi ba ona e ke bolela ka whole school evaluation. Teachers are here and they understand better what I'm talking about, but if parents are not here, we'll have a very serious problem. Young re tshwanetse align education system le the need the skills jerinya ke hao kara setšhaba. There is no need ya hore e be le ga moka bana ba re ba producer ba dilo ebel le le re bolela ka taba ya hore ba ba ntshi mo content ye be le yona gore ba ebel, and it can't be hore re na ka moka na re na re ebel. Ho Mr. Mbalati be ba re ba thalosa re bana ba re be re na hore re na re lose hope ka bona ba re ba dia something. And ba dia dilo jelo re na hore re khona ndre engwe le engwe re di khoni total. What we can do go re khona o complain re musa hore di elisa hore di ise kanto tsane re fito ngwe re check hore na ono le ba bangwe they need to be reskilled so that ba khona ba relevant to the fourth industrial revolution.
Thank you very much. Yamafelel ele abagaza ba ya partnership le bazwadi. I also want to uja polena as baruti sure again let them encourage bazado ore when bana ba bona aba university paska balatela mazo, but then they continue to support them, because one of the challenges parents do play a role in our high school and give us the moral support, but then the moment we go to university banore and it's so hard to transition from high school to varsity because it's an unfamiliar territory where you have to figure everything by yourself. So children do need in most cases, because first thing, they are not prepared for varsity and the systems, because there's a huge gap between our educational system and varsity. It's completely different. So in the partnership, also I urge my teacher or bana abaya university baba fair the same support in high school. We really need that moral support so that we can be able to adjust in that environment and also succeed, because it's really hard to actually figure everything yourself that side. I don't know ore lena le re ken ga yona.
Yeah, ntwe le bolela ga yona e botlhokwa ka mate. A ona ngwana yo lo re kile ga re ke presenter mo ke be kere engwana na support. A ona ka mokhomo nga matithere ba ka shuma le yena botse. Ene e be ke bolela ka support ya ngwana. Ke be ke sa bolele high school ba primary fair, ke be ke bolela kara system ka mo ka bo fitela fetch. Because if ngwana sa grade track ya bazwadi una lo je dinjijelo ri kana ja mo panel. But here, one thing that we must understand, I'm happy because I understand that the environment in which we are working in. We are in a rural area over South Africa, it is almost 70% rural. Moloro, bazali baba nchi, engwana ile university, koro ba mchaba moloro, abasa kona engage. There are very few people baloro, longwana zana university, bazibare sana bangwana. Uvitongo bazali wakra rere, abu kwa university urute. So lori ya posar chabalo boja. Kantino isanjere kibe mozali until to a level wherein kore mara only some of the things independently can do decision. Mara on chinga bagala toka knowledge ya bazwadi. Abana zibo ya orna batsanjuzana la moga again. Mara what I like anabi alakoro bazwadi babango bazeni school. Mara ono le draba ile odore gara asanya ka children monna asanya ka silo. Why should I care? And which is wrong. I think for me rebene uyona kina anore ke mathomo mayo auri we are going to note these things to say ki kaen ke leni mo reka kwao dialoga Trucam in collaboration with other structures ra meet abazwadi ra ba bontsha. In your programs you must also include early gloria da career exhibition if you love Leon. Let's find your lebije baba ngoba di student or bole na ibile you are former student, you know the environment ya hore ono le tabar bana ba bantshi ba passaboze mara ba pita matric tertiary ba fail. Why? Nka ba la environment ba fita ho yona ya ba dadisa ba lebala re ba dile sekolone ba defela ke ka mkhoskolo selengana ba lebala dipuku ba fail aba drop out and lo je di dia ka ba ka la hore bazwadi aba be involved. So if bazwadi ba ka ba involved, I think this thing will assist us. Rena ma teacher agree a passage ukuma le re sa kona dia follow up because ugwide to a level wherein we only interact le ba ba now e re sa ba bone a re kono interact le bona, but isa le role ya bazwadi or abadi seseng. And another generation ya bana ba tsena sekolo bontsi bana ba tswadi ba bana ba tsena sekolo, but mozwadi o ba limited ka baka la hore ngwana tsena university o to ka re go ngwana o se ba go duphala ena, and mozwadi experience ya be le yona ye ngwa e go sekolong e dio ba re the fact ya re ke mozwadi o no lo jering o ja di seba je ngwana sa di sebe, and le do thusa ngwana e mozwadi ya ka phela a interact if re kanya ka o seba re ngwana ka o diane ya na bjana warwa pasana uriene elor ke doga re a wampora ke a butsa mongwe re mbonje le result je lengwe mo na ke du 6 bana ba ra ora manjana ngwana le na bo fage na bo tloga ra pa stage la bana re exam so ke thoma ba le problem ya rena ngadi yane, and but together le motho no ana mar no a re mijerule le na fase re monche. Don't condemn the child, bolelang le ena le monche or okay if over no opportunity ya welela o go le pele ba pele no to ba no something ke a lebo.
Okay, okay, Michael.
Okay, thank you. I have a question, comment, sort of like needing clarity. My question is, from what I've seen in being in the area, there's a lot of emphasis that is put on ensuring that matriculants produce great results. Why is it that it's not the same emphasis and the same commitment that is put through ensuring that the learners actually are able to comprehend? They get put through summer schools, for example, just to learn how to read with comprehension, for example, because that is one of the main challenges that we also have come across. So as a parent and teacher, I think you're more than qualified to answer that question. Why is it that there's a lot of emphasis on focusing on giving more attention to the matriculants, saying they're not supposed to be doing any laundry? I know that majority of them don't have chores for the year that they're in matric for. And they don't have anything, they don't have a life apart from waking up in the morning and going to school and learning and then coming home, doing their homework, studying, and eventually going back to school again. And that repeats throughout the year until they they finish with their exams. Why is it that the same emphasis is not put on the lower grades that are within the schooling system?
Yeah. Emphasis if you are on matric in the sense our education system ya rena nka mkhoba idile ka ona. And gore re na re lebelela o re ba pelle ja guy, but process ya hore ba sala ba fita go ba fita bjana, it becomes a problem because ba fita ile hore mara ba pasije mara ba sharp, because this person re ka mo tshera mo isa Zimbabwe or ra mo isa Zambia o greano re grade level 7 akana grade level 4 ka Zimbabwe. I'm told statistically or according to research, when South Africa ya now ever computer at SADC level, ogra number 3, or maybe 5 countries, what are ogra number 4 or number 5? And why? We need to ask ourselves. At a SADC level, Southern Development Corporation, Yellow Southern African Development Community, SADC, DRC, Utawapas, up to South Africa. If Vanaba compete, Warina Yolo Pala South Africa, OG number 3 or number 4 or number 5, if ever the country generally 5. If you already 14, Ugra number 13 or number 12. And we must ask ourselves why. It is because our focus is on the ceiling, not on the foundation. If we build the foundation, I think it will be okay. Auna muthu ara yando atoma ka roof. It is only this ones. Jadi structure jadi so. Mara adilulio mo nditoma ka pasage. Bari dia di pillar ja cement ja tsara chibi so that the whole building is strong. So we must deal with the foundation. If the foundation is okay, the whole structure is going to be okay. Rena le batho ba re ba bitsa re curriculum advisors. We give milenge be department officials ba le on. Le second managers or monitoring system ya bona and support e lebelela good metric. More like the foundation winning, they don't care. Okralo re batho ba foundation ba struggle or na bozibutsi ba tshwanetse ba impart knowledge ya bona byana. And young mogore o do batho ba jara hape ngwana o tshwanetse ra pass. O ne ba re struggle ka bana ba re hey bana ba tshwanetse ba pass. Teacher lo phala ja ba pa level 7 ka moka. A ona na go ya o check na level 7 is very qualitative na. I remember one parent I went to one school ka rwana ka mata ka re why o bo rwana re no ke ke rwana sa go re ngwana ka o kreile di level 7 mara ngwana ka khonuba. I said to the principal o dile be ana re wena o dumelelotse are ile ba argument ye kholo ka re no convincing because ngwana wa ka khonuba mara le mo file level 7 a ke re ke taba re ke ngwana ra manjana re chaba ra manjana ba do re challenge ba re why fage na bile ke mo paene level 7 so ke be ke duma re ba zoli ba yona re ba le mo sa re o ska taka ka di level 7 and 6 are they qualitative na ke ka lo bja hore bana ba re ba produce ao e ile re ba grade level 7 ke show ya hore la ga ma bili o gloria John le dusis ke ziba re me bili o nyogodia John le dusis so re tshwantse re dile le foundation ya rena. Anabele, I'm happy the department is doing something in as far as the issue ya o dila le the foundation phase. Banyaka matishera maleba, you are the grade R, you are the foundation. Nobody are the HOD member, I'm sure you are told or Helmut Tubaga Muchia LDH asana the qualification ja foundation phase bagasumuchi. So if I get intermediate you bagam kwano biale so ntwe tshwenye ba bona gore are dile the foundation part. Then the rest you're going to latrel. As a lady from one of the Basija Konovala, a Konoiano, longa mo pabugu, ya from 5 adia from 1, Unyogo Vala, about Talusarno, Mara as not the correct foundation, forget. So, Ndwebe no na good foundation yarna, I all right because they focus on metric. If now they are dealing with the foundation, but grade 6, but grade 9, but make sure they are right, at least restore in between the bastards reveal something. Our foundation is not strong. That is why Gaudim, if a legend.
Thank you very much. We're going to proceed. Is there anyone who has questions? Okay. I want to know to go. Quickly.
Okay, afternoon.
Afternoon.
I have a question and also I'm seeking for help. Like I'm one of the teachers and as a teacher I have my own educational philosophy. And my own educational philosophy is that the child's education is a 3-foot. 3-foot everyone likes about it. At its name, it has 3 foot. Like, it has to involve the teacher, the parent, and the learner. But mostly the teacher and the parent have to work together. Mr. Ramanjana, you talked about the parents' involvement, and I loved that part because as a teacher, we face a lot of challenges when it comes to parent, and that hinders the child's education mostly. They just don't know it. So my question is that, how do we deal with parents that believe that the child's education is the child's education is the teacher's responsibility, not theirs, their teacher's responsibility? You just said right now that in foundation, the kids are passing, but they don't know how to learn. The foundation of it is crumbling because teachers are unable to get through with kids because the parents are not involved enough. If the teacher gives them homework activities, they complain. It's like they're saying that, what are they there for? What are we there for at school if we are giving them home activities for them to help their kids? They don't realize that their involvement is more important, the same way that the teacher's involvement is important. They don't realize that the passion for education for children comes from them before from us. So how do we deal with such parents? And also, let's not forget the part where the law actually is limiting us when it comes to correcting the kids. We talk about the Bella Bill, we talk about SAYS. Like, even if just to correct the child, not physically, not saying insultive words, but just to correct it, the moment they complain, it's like the teacher is wrong. You as a teacher, you know that even if a child comes and hits you in the face, they will just say, what did you do to provoke the learner? You are no longer a parent actually at the school. You are just there to what? Let's just say to actually, it's no longer education, but we want to involve these parents to see that yes, the law is there, but it's hindering our learners because they are using it negatively instead of positively. So I'm urging Trucam and also Scorsese Insider. You talked about the veterans, the meeting with the veterans. May we include parents in those meetings so that they will know the importance of their involvement in the kids' education. And also, we have parents that wants to be involved in the kids' education, but what's limiting them is that they are uneducated. How do we help them? I urge Trucam and also Scorsese Insider, please help those parents because they want to be involved in their kids' education, but they are unable due to the fact that they think they are not educated enough or they don't know the stuff. Please. And also, we have parents that are advocates to their kids. You know, their kids are always right. Whatever the child says, the child is correct, actually, according to them. They don't come to school to confront with concern as to what could have led to such incident. To them, their kids was wronged instead of confronting the problem. Thank you.
No, really. Iringi tumega ila ya strictly or gineti molalero tutoni yarenana vyale vare resonjore vazwadi babe involved. Thanks, because the person have a image murutish gulejika SSE area young wagi parental involvement. If I'm not wrong, ki bullet number gida mapelelo. If regai practice abozi renyoko move mara regai dia so regas move term 1 retsanjo rebije bazwadi ki police ya bajaja more thoma bona reno le problem ki term 1 erega di yesilo ya ka mko police ri yanga ona roba le problem throughout ki ya mathom na am happy ore mo ke bereka ona ke gara disciplinary committee ene ke rena ba bangwe ba lo re jiana go enjirisa ka melato nthekile ka ile mo ke ya ore ono le taba re ke nnete bazwadi ba bantsi ba tshaba bana re detect re sekisa ngwana le mzwadi but immediately re bija ngwana mzwadi re amthalosa jara o ile ine re dusor na le phela bana le ngwane o wena ke mo le do dor na ndrele nyoko ilwa le do wina ba le do losana. So ke nnete molawana bjale o tshwere matitšhere ebe ka dia phoso seisi ya zena ebe ka dia phoso bela ya zena mara corrective measures je re tshwanetse re di šomisana bjale ke tše dintši tše le re tshwanetse re di šomise ene ye kholo e ba re encourage ona ke ya wa bala ngwana tšele tše dingwe ka moka di le re outlaw da ke nyaka wa baka tšona because ra tseba ra ya dumelela because even ka thoma wa baka tšona toka ka re kore ke ra gore ba di bypass ene o di bypassa mereko wa lena o do ba bothateng and I don't want you to go there. are insiste or nyaka motswadi re ke fa mthalo. In our community re na le di private schools, right? Ke bone di private schools tse dintsi, they involve parents. So le rena are tap something very good. Ke tlhalositse mo ka re batswadi ba na bele ba bantsi a se batho ba lo re ka dona marara ba khone ngwala. Awu aba ba bangwe ke ditshaka tsa borena ba bangwe re ba peta ba bangwe re ba rutile. So mara a re be le mokgwa ba involve ore elo re nyaka Ramanjana, let us call Ramanjana. A o nyaka meeting again. Elo ro nyaka sgogoda, elo ro nyaka mablele. Ai be ka mkhwano. We cannot call mass meeting re nyaka motswadi o motri. O kumana re na re dile ore dora botse mo bonya ke ya bazwadi ba bana ba ill discipline. Re na right. That's why motswadi mo ngato emela re na botse le re bijejeng. Karo gar botse le re bijejeng bazwadi ba. So why didn't you call them? So are make sure re ba le one on one, especially on bazwadi bana ba lo re ba no le problem. Sekoloni una le di school based support teams are really shumise. Lady different committees je di one really shumise o involve bazwadi ba. Una le moloro o grelo re committee e deal le situation jam kwano. Mara elo re yona sekoloni re ngwala for compliance ye circuit are shumise re global the problem. Yengwe ke taba ya communicate le bazwadi through progress report. Term 1 e pela re bitsa bazwadi. Dikolong je di njubi jo bazwadi ba matric. Ke right principal again. Grozibel ba primary akizoro mara high school mo ke bereka o bitswa ba matric pela. And butso ke ara na ba form 1, form 2, form 3, form 4 lo ba bijale. So we need to have a strategy to say even if we call the ba matric are be le nako e lo re bijala ba bangwe ba sibo rona o die. But at the same time, let us have a way of controlling the power na bazwadi ba check ali homework or not. If ngwana ka se ngwala homework ana bjana la bobedi la boraro na ba ke ba teacher ba zero aka se ngwala mathomo ke note la bobedi ke bija mzwadi ka re mzwadi a siwo a re o dwana ene go nya ka di phone a mpatsa maka ke ka office ba to mpatsa di right ka ra be ngwana wa nga iwe re se re ngwadile mishifo ana ye meraro o ngwadile motsi tell me ur na le na ro bereka bya disatu ko bola bile mo ngar menier lena vana valena elegare assignment ba disa kare na I'm very strict. At one stage when I was teaching matric kile ka phone la mzali o mongwe ka re disa assignment ngwana re o iside ke phone la e bolokwana ra bena ke bolokwana ka re jaro taba nene o ba dula takalana monno la phone la msali wa morwa ka matara go sile le bana wena o ba tokomele ngwana o sile mshomo o bo o gae e ba e dabar na wa ile mblaisa ka mkhala ba ka ra wa na ke be ke di ya je ke tsonjo ke di ene nete ba dala mshomo ya ba re ngwana bona ba sa peche are bozibuzi lo abani de regular bojeneti ke sa peche le bone be ngwa le paragraph je bedi wa zo nyongwala essay. So that involvement ile ali ya mzwali atomo rata interaction e gidi ya wile o pasa ngwana mzwali ola he was the first one to phone same Mr. Ramanjana ke level lile ndwe ngwe lo re o batho ba nje ba idi ka no bazwali ka makakili ya ka mkhwano ke mo interact le no bo fitela ale muoro bozibuzi ke ala bisa ka the reason why bana ba re ke ala bisa nga ba ka la re ke bitsa bazwali ba tamoen. So if we involve parents, I'm telling you are not going to lose. If basadi you note it so that tomorrow are na why ngwana ga fage ke re ga January ke le ka le bija ngwana le so la sete term 2 ka le bija ngwana le so la sete rancha report aside mbujeno re bozibuzi le na lona yena or tango le wile America staro wa giwa na gara why so le ra re jela bana go ya baka sali apa so itu sa gore mapelelone lo jere dinya ka ro nyoko dikhumana because only bali involved ba to kono le moa ngwana a kono bala a kono ngwala only le mopile level 7 e gwa eka le mofile ka baka la re ke ngwana Ramanjana no o tsone re I deserve. So yengwe ke ane la gile ka ya tlela ya ready veterans or let us involve them but wala bana le knowledge e ntsi ba to re thusa or mo o nyake ya se lese ntwere nyaka ro nyoko ikhumana because una le knowledge gap somewhere and bana le yona batho ba leng even if the department here already has something but ba jiana go mara batho ba le ro ba ona. That's why today re ke le boje o bontshara batho ba le ba ikemiseditse ba ba gospel ke ba zwa re KT bezwaleje ke mo mana ba ba dile re bule ba KT ke di retired principals ba ra ba thusa go ake isi ala ba do ira principal la KT le ma teacher ba nna ba le basadi ba le ba diene ba retire asiona o bontshara batho ba na le passion ya education so ba re no rena re are retired mara ha re nyaka gore ho be le bana ba bantši ba tsene sekolo because our lives will be threatened. Bana ba rena ba tlo ba kosing. So let us all be involved.
Thank you very much. Lekana la dilafasi Mr. Ramanjan. Arbatel maso. Annabelle, we are going to go to another item. We are about to finish. Ms. Matao Rashijano will come in front to give us a presentation of plan of action. Ore Barobojo Ore as Trucam, what is their plan of action or to ensure that we are having a quality education?
Sorry, just before I come to the principals or the representative Jadi Kolo, as a project, a plan of action, if ever, lebona lor only activity you would love us to incubate your school on, please note it down, Larry inform me, because iba a hassle approach the principal to say, can we please come for this project to your school? Like iba. Yeah, iba a long drive because sometimes babang ba show interest, babang ba show interest. So if ever only project education beneficial for your school, please note it down. Thank you.
Tawela, Nagalina Genamata Warashizani. I am the project manager of Trucam Ultimate Support. So I'm going to be presenting our 2026 plan of action, which is like the calendar year of projects for this year. Okay, let me just. Okay. Okay, so with the first project for January, we had the motivational school visit and the peer mentorship program introduction. But unfortunately, we couldn't do it because of the floods during the month in which most schools were closed temporarily for so we couldn't do them. But as soon as we are able to do it, we're gonna reschedule for the visits. Okay, so the motivational school visits were all about career talks and share success stories or achievements. As na Hazel Warashijane, I will be like standing king. We're gonna share our stories, how education has shaped our futures and all that, since we are all into education. I am a master's candidate, by the way, at the University of Johannesburg. Yeah. So the target grades were grade 8 up to grade 12s. And then with the peer mentorship program launch, it was all about having mentors and mentees, whereby grade 12s and grade 11s will be mentoring juniors or the ones that are in lower grades. Yeah, those who are in lower grades. It's going to be more about personal development, academic support, and career guidance amongst peers. And then for February, we have the digital literacy workshop and the organizational relaunch, which is the one that we are in now. The one that is left is the digital literacy workshop. Basically, it's all about teaching learners basic computer and internet skills, the Word, Microsoft Office, how to access the internet, so that when they go to university, at least they have like a foundation on how to use the internet and computer. Okay, so the target is grade 11s and grade 12s. Okay, as Trudy mentioned, Hori, if the caller they are interested. Okay, sorry.
Okay, I have a comment and question. How many days were you planning to do the digital literacy program? From when to when? And I don't know if you've already spoken to the schools, if and when they are available. Can we offer Digital Citizen Plus, which is an accredited certification from ICDL to those learners that will be going through that program?
Okay, so I think it was going to be 2 days, in which the first day it was going to be the grade 11s, and then the other day it was going to be the grade 12s.
Okay, so 2 days, how many learners?
Concha, it was how many learners? Sorry, just to confirm, it was how many learners? 25 learners. Yeah.
Okay. So you've got 25 devices. Can we double the number to 50? I'll bring 25 laptops as well.
Yeah, so the schools that are interested will have to talk to Ms. Trudy Rashidjani to sign up, the teachers or the principals. Okay, and then, okay, so moving on to March. March, we don't have much activities. It is just a fundraising activity in which we're gonna have the clothing drive, which is gonna be open for the whole year so that we can donate at the end of the year, and the pet drive donation drive. Moving on to April, we have the autumn holiday tutoring camp, in which we'll be providing math and science extra lessons during school holidays. So the target is grade 10. So how are we going to implement it? We are going to approach teachers, graduates, or people with knowledge in STEM or math or science, right, to host the tutoring sessions to the learners, because most learners are struggling with maths and science. I was one of the learners, so I think those tutoring sessions will be very much beneficial to the students. And then we have the Mental Health Awareness Week, in which it is an awareness session on mental wellness, stress management, and peer pressure. So we are targeting grade 8 up to grade 11s, because we think grade 12s will be busy in that time, so we don't want to disturb their academic routines. Yes. So with this one, it's all about, okay, we're going to invite a mental health specialist, whereby they're going to give a talk on how to manage stress, mental health, on like how important it is to take care of your mental health, because as much as we're into education, we need to take care of ourselves. And then moving on, we have the Career Guidance Day. This one is an annual thing, whereby we're going to be inviting invite local professionals, universities, and colleges, whereby they are going to be advising learners on career choices. Yes, on career choices. The programs that they have at the universities, what is it that you have to do if you want to be in a specific study field, and give like advices on career guidance. This one will target grade 12s so that we can prepare them to go to the university.
Finally, we already have a secular career exhibition. So to avoid misunderstanding today, I'll make sure as soon as tomorrow, thank you.
Okay, so with for May, we have the peer mentorship program launch, in which it was supposed to be introduced in January during the motivational school visit. So as soon as we reschedule the motivational school visits, we're gonna introduce the peer mentorship program, and then those learners who are interested will have to sign up, and then we're gonna get the list from the teachers or the principal, and then we're gonna launch it. They are gonna get a recognition at the end of the year, like at the end of the program. Yes. Okay, so for June, we have Education as a Right, Youth Art or Poetry Exhibition. So with this one, we're gonna host art or poetry exhibition where youth showcase talent and advocate for education. So this one is in remembrance of the 1976 youth of Soweto, as they were fighting for against oppression in schools, right? So this one it's all about honoring the 1976 youth, to show their fight wasn't in vain. And then for July, we have the CV writing and interview skills boot camp, whereby we're gonna have a session on how to write CVs and prepare for interviews. This one is open to anyone. It's not limited to learners only, because I think we can also use it as youth on how to draft CVs, because I myself, drafting a CV, it's a struggle. So yeah, it's gonna be very much beneficial into that and how to prepare for interviews, because most people when they get to the interview room, they are stuck or like nerves they can mess up with your whole thing on how you articulate yourself and all that. And then we have the Mandela Month, in which we are celebrating Mandela, our president Nelson Mandela. This one will focus on ECDs, right? This one is all about teaching teaching of my body, my right awareness, and then donation of charts like fruit, animals, and infrastructures charts. So with the teaching of my body, my right awareness, with the GBV cases rising almost every day, and most people that are affected by it, it's little girls, which was assaulted at school. So with this one, it's all about teaching those kids, whenever, if an adult talks to you in an uncomfortable way or touches you, don't be scared to like talk, you know. Tell somebody, this is my body. When you touch me, like when you touch me here, I know my mom taught me, no, it's not right, a man must touch my breast or a man must do this. So in that way, at least they have like an awareness to know what is right and what is wrong when a man or somebody does something to them. And then we have for August, which is the Women's Month, we have the Women's Month Tech for Girls Coding Boot Camp, right? So this one, it's limited to 50 girls learners since we are celebrating Women's Month. We're training girls in coding and digital skills, so Zuri Foundation, we're gonna hit you up for that collaboration, yeah. We also have the Young Women in Leadership Talks, whereby we're gonna have women or female leaders. They are gonna be motivating or sharing talks with young girls, you know. Can be about career, personal goals, you know, anything that has to do with leadership and all that, empowerment, women empowerment. And then for September, we have the massive tree planting initiative in schools. So we are gonna select schools whereby we will be doing the tree planting. This one, we can say it's more of like an environmental sustainability, you know, yeah, environmental sustainability. We can collaborate with both Department of Fishery and Forestry, because we know they do offer free trees whereby you can choose a school and then you plant. And then we have the parent workshop, workshops, in which it's all about supporting learning at home, because since the event has started, most people were complaining about parents being much involved into their learners or their kids' education. So the session, the workshops will be more all about that, how parents can more be supportive to their kids' education. Okay, so this one is for high school. Yeah, this one will be will target high schools. And then for October, we have the public speaking challenge, which is a youth-led public speaking competition. We have, okay, that's fine. Okay, so we saw how most of the learners here were like being unable to articulate themselves, you know, speaking freely in the public eye. So this one, it's all about giving them that, yeah, we can say like opportunity or, that energy, like, I don't know how to, like, I forgot the term for it, but then this one will help them to be able to, like, speak freely in public, you know, being in the public eye, how to manage their nerves, you know, because when I was taught, for you to, like, conquer your fear, just look at one person and focus on her the whole time when you're speaking. That's how you do it, you know. And then the next time, sorry to say this, but you just imagine everyone has a cow face, you know, so that you, yes, in that way, like your nerves, they're gonna, I understand, yes, you're gonna be freely, you're gonna be comfortable in speaking like kopela batho. And then we have the Okay, for November, we have the school safety and clean classroom campaign. So this one is a school cleanup drive whereby we're gonna pick a school, maybe a primary school and a high school, and then we are gonna be cleaning. It's like, yeah, body recycling, you know, pick up the dirt, the bottles go this side, plastic, you know, yeah, like it's all about a clean environment. And then we have the pre-loved and new clothes drive donation. As I have said, this one is going to be open throughout the year, so that, yeah, we're going to be accepting donations throughout the year, and then we're going to be donating to the community at the end of the year. And then for December, we have the annual impact report presentation. This one is for Trucam Ultimate Support, where we can gather as a team, and then we discuss what we have done so far during the year, what went wrong, the challenges that we had, you know, achievements, what we could do better, and all that. And then we have the Volunteer Appreciation Day, whereby we're going to be appreciating our volunteers as being part of the Trucam, as helping us, you know, without expecting anything back, you know, giving your time to give back to the community. So in that way, we are showing appreciation to you, saying thank you for doing this. And then we have the year-end outreach for vulnerable youth, whereby we're going to be doing the Christmas clothing drive that we do annually, go Mamaila Mall. And then for the last one, we have the annual Miss Josese, in which this one is open for anyone. And also, should I introduce the other one? Trudy? Okay, so with the, again, Mr. Josese, we have decided that this one is also gonna be open to boys also, so that they don't feel left out. Every time you're only focusing on girls when it comes to this thing. I mean, there are also boys who are into modeling, right? Yes. So yeah, this time, that's your chance. This is your opportunity. It's your time to shine now. And yeah, that's it for our calendar year. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. If the schools and the teachers, they want to be involved in the plan of action, Bangwadise. So right now we're going to call Ms. Rasijana to come.
Tabela, I think if you let me in a program, on the session, you did your kids here and away. Kia misleading Mahopa. Yeah, how collaboration can help us achieve the SDG 4. Like, it's more of a call for action, for partnership. Like Trucam, to all the schools, the organizations, and the others, let us come together. Let us collaborate. I think we are trying our level best, or community each into becoming something better way than it is now. So let us collaborate. Let us feed each other with information. Let's not be stingy with information. And Reskaba reluctant to approach each other, the organizations and so forth. The previous years I've seen for example, secondary, organization J5, they donated the sanitary pad the same month to the same school. Logically, it doesn't make sense because they could have been also useful to the others. By Badi toka dikoloni tse dingwe re donate dikolo dieta dikoloni tse di-1 and so forth. I think if we collaborate, we would really know which learners really need those things. So let us collaborate the programs. Let us come together as a team. For example, if we want to do anything that has to do with digital literacy and so forth, we know Rizuri Foundation is there. They are our go-to people. So let us all come together and work together. And yeah, get level.
Okay, we are closing. Kitilo pela Miss Posa to come and give vote of thanks. Miss Posa to come and give vote of thanks.
Dumelani once again. Kesavila Biabe ono taufa dizebo to say ralebua obalirina udwa mashomoni udwela rile ra rumela di invitation ra ubela lore le RSVP la RSVP akanako ene abe rabale le nase fru rabale e delay maralano la no dula le rena azangala ngala la samaya so reno ra leboa kamada because if we ba bangwe ba do ba ile ba ra ke khale re dile mara ba shomi bangala ba samaya mara bona le la dula le rena so to the principal the guests kamu ka je di be di ona RCL ba media ba insider le ba givergaona ba Trucam ultimate support thank you so much for your patience. Thank you so much for your participation. The event wouldn't be a success. Ngeli side ebe ga sidie o bonyo go da rena fela ene wa ba le fela so re le boa ka lebaka le la itrabisa la re ele re bija lada and again baba sa sign oral call ale gwalgana la signa kwa receptioning and onali di snack nyana so no feta re roba and argwalagan there sazamaya we're gonna take some pictures for memories and yeah, that's it from me. Thank you so much.
Refitile mafelone a service arena. Okay, refitile fellow Jania service arena. You're a beautiful guest. You're a beautiful audience. They participated. We had some insightful information. If we are having special needs where we have to enroll, we know how to use digital e-learning, and we know that what is quality education. So, Mr. Manyama. You guys, you can rise so that we can pray.
Ke aleboa se re ka sidira gore a re bonyeni modimo wa kamra modimo lokileng khoshi we invited to you as we begin this program modimo wa kamra modimo lokileng khoshi wa iteja gore we bona dije. You empowered us, you give us strength with the information here, kumani mowe le knowledge. Baba kalina le matala marana Jesu, yesi ji kuro implementiwe. Mudimo akamra mudimo alukulong coach, to arele waka mata, mudimo akarere. Mudimo akamra mudimo alukulong coach badrise, Trucam, badrise kamuka, le baskoses inside, badrise kamuka community. Barutishi barena bana barena principal ya rena ka moka le secretary manager modimo ka gore se se bule jumo se spectacle modimo ka mra modimo le coach le le boa pela e lore repetila mapelle joni se sengwe le se sengwe spectacle ka le ina le matla morena Jesu modimo ka mra modimo le coach get along with us until we fulfill everything in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Cameraman o robela le kasela gana moare so re robela le boya ntukwana. Re a upela tswetse. Boya le re a upela.
Hey, you made it.